Greetings from Southern California. I just wanted to talk about something today. In the circles that I run with, online or whatever, there's a lot of anti-capitalist sentiment, and I wanted to talk about that for a couple reasons. First, because I'm not personally anti-capitalist, but second of all, I think in political debates, it's throwing out the baby with the bathwater to start from that point, because the reality is every form of power has levels of corruption in it. And I mean, point to any government or any kind of hierarchy of power that doesn't have some kind of corruption. And I think capitalism has a lot on its side. Now, that's not to say that there aren't a lot of aspects of it that don't need to be reformed, and there haven't been historical excesses that are terrible, and it's not perfect by any means. But the reason I've been thinking about this, especially today, is I watched this Chris Rock special this weekend, and there's a story in there I wanted to highlight that relates to this. So watch this clip.
It's amazing. My daughter Lola goes to culinary school in Paris. Yeah. Culinary school. Touche, nigga, touche. Culinary school in Paris. That's right, my greatest achievement, man. I mean, let's just think about it. Let's think about it for a second. Just think about it. My mother was born in 1945. My mother was born in 1945 in a little town called Georgetown, South Carolina, right? And my mother told me when she was a little girl, it was against the law for a black person to go to a white dentist. Against the law for a black person to go to a white dentist, right? And if you were a little child and you needed your teeth taken out, like all children do, if you're a little black child and you needed your teeth taken out and you couldn't find a black dentist, you had to go to a vet. Yeah, motherfucker. A vet in America. I'm talking about my mother. I'm not talking about Harriet Tubman. I'm talking about my mother. Shit, she's sitting over there, okay? My mother went to the vet, okay? Went to the vet. And think about it. This same woman that had to go through the indignity of going to getting her teeth taken out by a fucking vet, the same woman now, twice a year, gets on a plane, flies to Paris, and has coffee with her granddaughter who is going to culinary school. Touche, nigga, touche. Okay? And Lola and my mother sits her down and tells her about her life, and then...
So you get the idea. And I just want to know, like, me personally, I've never lived in a country that's not like the United States, that doesn't have a capitalist system. So I can't say from personal experience that I know anything better, but maybe there is something better. But are there other countries where stories like this are possible? Because, you know, I mean, we have a checkered past. America has been through some shit, and I hate to call it America, even the United States, because America includes North America, South America, you know, there's plenty of Central America. It's a whole continent. But point being is, that's a great story, and that's a story that Chris Rock came from nothing. He's a multi-millionaire now. He's you know, he gets smacked by Will Smith at the Oscars. But this story, I thought it really struck me, because, you know, lately, obviously with the way things are going in the world, I've been down on my hopes, you know, and it sometimes you just feel like, wow, what the hell is wrong with this country? But then you hear a story like this, and it kind of gives me a glimmer of hope, you know. And back to the capitalism conversation, I mean, for me to record this clip, I did it on a phone that was made with human slavery, you know, in another country. The way that they mine the materials to make the chips, and the way that Chinese workers are treated. And, you know, I've never seen this stuff with my own eyes. I just read about it. But I guess what I'm saying is the world is still imperfect. You know, we're not there yet. But a story like this is to me, proof that we're moving in the right direction, even though it's maybe not as quickly as we should be. And again, it gives me a little bit of hope. It's a feel-good story in a world of, anger and hatred and division, and I think, again, with the capitalist thing, there are elements of it that need to be reformed, right? I mean, healthcare should not have a profit motive. I know plenty of people, and you can say whatever you want about socialism, whatever. I know plenty of people who have been fully insured, did everything right by the book, lived their entire life above board, and did everything they were supposed to, got the job, had the savings, and their wife got cancer, and they're, remortgaging their house and completely drained of all their finances. And that's not because our system is so great. That's because our system is garbage. And there are positive aspects of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, there are positive sides, but I think what frustrates me about the United States is I feel like everything is a scam to make money now, and we've lost sight of what's important. With it, even prison is another good example of something that should not be a profitized industry. When you have a profit motive to put people in jail, the system is going to look for ways to put people in jail. And so, with that in mind, I understand that beef with capitalism, and it's out of control in a lot of areas. But there are also, every country in the world, including the United States, is a hybrid of different systems. And while our economic system is capitalism, our fire department and police system and military are socialist. We're collectively paying into those things because we all agree that these are services that we need. And healthcare should be the same. And the only reason it's not is because of a orchestrated, well-funded campaign to convince people otherwise. But the reality on the ground is that, it needs to change. And just to circle back again, that's one of the problems with capitalism. It's, sometimes it gets a little out of control. But then you have stories like this Chris Rock story where he's a guy who came from nothing. You heard him, his mother, the terrible things she went through. Now she flies to Paris twice a year. And that's something that I think is good to highlight and talk about. And like I said, I only know my own experience, so I don't claim to be the end-all be-all. If you know better than me, I'd love to talk about it. If there are systems that you know about or that you've lived under that are better, I'd love to talk about it. But I'm just saying, from a personal perspective, the world is a nuanced place. Nothing is black and white. And there are a lot of gray areas in everything, and capitalism is one of those things that I think it's so easy to just instantly go, oh, capitalism is the devil, when it's a little more nuanced than that. Yeah, there's problems, big problems, but what system doesn't have the same kind of problems with power and abuse of power? Because you can point to any kind of system, political system throughout history, and see the same trends before capitalism was a thing. So I think it's more about being smart and vigilant, and also, we need to realize that the workers are the ones with the power. At the end of the day, we got the numbers, baby. The regular people, the proletariat, as you might call them, they can shut things down if they want to. And I don't think that the United States has gotten to that point yet where people are uncomfortable enough to do that. But if it gets to that point, the people can flex. And that's when things really change. Electoral politics don't change anything. But anyway, I digress. Capitalism, it's not all bad. And if you have differing opinions, don't scream at me and call me a CIA plant or whatever. Just let's talk about it. I would love to hear differing opinions or people who live in countries that they believe are, because even a country like the UK or Canada or Norway or Sweden, they're capitalist. They're every bit as capitalist as the United States. They just have a stronger socialist safety net. They take care of each other. They're not being robbed blind by their military yet. And again, that's another area of capitalism that is out of control, the military-industrial complex. That's the problem, too, is you look at what happened with COVID, the health-industrial complex. It's a situation where these pharma companies and these healthcare companies are so embedded in the political system through lobbying and donations, and now, through Obamacare probably expanded that bureaucracy. I hate to say it because it did improve things, but it also probably expanded that bureaucracy. And now we just have this administrative nightmare, this administrative and political nightmare that's just, with the COVID stuff, you just saw how powerful the world of pharma is. And of course, when you have that much money, you can buy whatever you want. You can buy politicians, you can buy advertising, you can buy it all. And I'm not saying anything about anything specific. I'm just saying in general, you see that trend with the military. The reason we're involved in all these wars isn't because we're spreading democracy. It's because people make money off it. It's good for TV. It's good for politics. It's good for all these adjacent industries. And that's a problem. I saw that as someone who worked for the Bernie Sanders campaign. The biggest fear behind Bernie Sanders getting the Democratic nomination was that the consultant class that lives in DC, the Hillary Clinton DNC consulting arm, all the people that have these politics adjacent jobs, the people that write for Vox and the people that work for the Department of fuck yourself, whatever you want to call it, Department of I should probably edit that. But you get the idea. It's like that those adjacent industries sometimes help steer the policy. You can see it with the military clearly. All these contractors and people that get money, and this really exploded after 9/11, and now you see it post-COVID with all these health industry people. There's all these new all these contractors getting health contracts, and whether it's for software or medicine or whatever, you name it. And then of course with COVID, the news benefited greatly from that because everyone's tuning in every day to see the death count and be scared. What am I supposed to be scared of today? That's how it works. Trump, Russiagate, great for news, not real, but all that kind of stuff. Examples of out of control capitalism that needs to be reined in. But again, I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for capitalism, So there's a balance and there's a nuance, there's gray area. It's not a black and white thing. But again, I would love to hear differing opinions. I would love to talk to people about it. I'd love to engage with people because I know that I don't know everything and I don't claim to. And I'm always interested in learning and hearing opposing viewpoints and different viewpoints and just hearing from people in general about their experience because, my experience is very limited. So thanks for listening.